She is a weather anchor that uses her superpowers to predict the ever-changing weather in Canada. She's a life coach, but her passion is animals and mentoring young women. And she is my kind Canadian this week, Carla Bosacki. Hi and welcome.
Annie, that is such a nice introduction. It's so great to see you again. Thank you. Thank you for having me. That's so nice.
I'm so excited to catch up after our show, Toronto Living. And can you believe has it been 20 years?
I don't even want to think about it. Some of the best times of my life. I don't know about you, but I was, those old pictures come up on Facebook and there's always the one of you, myself, and Chris Perez, who has gone on to do amazing things himself. And I see that and I think, we didn't get paid. We worked really hard. We did so much work for so long, but it was some of the best times I've ever had.
I agree with you.
And
I look back and I thought, how lucky were we? We had parties, loot bags, lots of laughs, and everything was, it was just a wonderful group of people. And I agree with you. I look back at it fondly, and I think, where can we go again to get there? How do we get there again?
Well, we could always bring it back.
Carla,
we should. We can get Rick and he can go do food. Right? Get Chris, get him away from the kids and the wife and his job, and see if he can do some producing, get Dana back.
I am on it. As soon as we are done this Zoom, I feel like we have to bring it back. Everything's rebooting, right? Friends is rebooting. So clearly Toronto Living has to reboot, right?
But have you not gotten people that stop you and say, gosh, I really love that show? Because that happened to me for a long time after, because after I left, I went to Vancouver and then went across Canada. But when I came back 6-7 years ago, I still would get stopped from people and they'd say, oh my gosh, Toronto Living, that was such a great show. You got to bring it back. I used to watch it all the time. And I used to think, really? It was on community TV, but everybody knew that show. So many people watched it. And you're right, we got invited to everything. Yeah.
So now that you've got this wonderful coaching career going on and you're fulfilling all these people and clients' potential, how do you find that empathy, charity, and kindness, what role do they play in your life now?
A huge role. They make me, empathy, first of all, helps me relate to other women who are currently going through things that I used to go through, young girls that I mentor. This is crucial because I just empathize with them when it comes to poor body image and wanting to be perfect and wanting to look like those models on Instagram, which is impossible. You know that most of them don't look like that. They've got all kinds of apps to shrink them and grow certain parts of their body, right? So it's not real.
Filter, more filter.
Right. And so, but young girls don't know that. And they see that and they think, okay, that's what I want to look like. Like I want to get the butt job and I want to get the boobs and the lips and do all this stuff and change my body because that's going to make me happy. But at the end of the day, if you go do all that stuff and look for happiness outside of yourself, you're not going to find it. Right? Doing all the things on the outside is not going to change how you feel inside. You're right. It's right here. It comes from you. So I empathize with these girls. It was hard enough when we were growing up. I can't imagine what it's like these days with Instagram and Twitter and Facebook.
Right.
So I want to help them. I want them to realize that they're beautiful for who they are right now. And I want them to realize that they can do anything they want. They can achieve anything. You just need to have a dream and then have a plan and be determined and persistent and open and go after it.
Work hard and be kind.
And be kind. That's another very, very important part. Some people think you need to be really mean to get ahead. You have to step over toes to get ahead. And women historically in many industries have done that. You and I both know that, especially in media. It's all about, competition and you don't want that. And we're mean to each other, but that's not the way to go about it. And that's not going to give you long-term success. or longevity, right? You may get to where you want to be in a short period of time, but it's not going to last, because being nice to people is really what is going to get you someplace farther and longer, because it says so much about who you are as a person.
And you
Women need
always
to stick out for each other more.
I agree with you. And I always feel you always remember how that person made you feel. Right?
Always.
Always.
Always. It's so important. I may not know exactly what they said, but I will always remember how they made you feel. And I just had this happen to me. I was at a restaurant, finally getting out. It was the first time I went out with a couple girlfriends, and I was so excited because I love to go out. I'm very social. I love going out. Finally go out, go to the patio, and the waiter, something happened, and the waiter said something to me, and I left there so deflated and so just so brokenhearted. And I thought, I will never go back to that restaurant. I almost wanted to reach out to the manager and say, do you know that your waiter did this and said this, and I will never come back because of that. I will, because he made me feel so bad. That's all I remember. Even though I know the food was really great, the company was even better, I won't go back because of how I felt when I left. So you're right.
And hopefully when people hear this, they're reminded that the way you conduct yourself matters. It matters to be kind.
What does it take? What more does it take to be nice to somebody as opposed to being nasty to them?
Right.
And if you're going to yell at someone or cut them off, why not just take a deep breath and let them go and be nice to them and smile and wave, as opposed to getting angry and, you know, wanting to act the way they are. There's too much stress and negativity in our world these days. And I understand COVID is a huge predominant factor in that, and we're all really full of anxiety. But if we all just take a step back and breathe a little bit and realize we're all going through this, and that this is what it is, you know, accept it and make the best of it and be nice to people, you'll feel so much better. It feels so good to do something for someone else. If you're feeling really shitty and negative about yourself, you know how you can make yourself feel better? Go bake some cookies and bring them to your neighbor. Go call your senior who you're worried about and say, hey, how you doing? How are you today? Go bring a Timbits to your guys at work and put a smile on their face. Nothing will make you feel better than doing something nice for someone else.
And usually kindness begets kindness. So then it becomes a pay it forward. And I feel like it always circles back. And because people see the kindness.
100%. And also it opens up more doors if you're nice. Right?
This is true.
If you're nice to people and you start talking to them, if they ask you what you do, you tell them, they see what you're like. You never know who they know, who knows somebody who may be able to help you to achieve something that you want, or connect you somehow and network. And
it's a silver lining in being kind. It never ends. There's so many benefits of being kind that you don't even know of or see of. And people talk about 20 years ago, someone would have done something nice to me, and it always resonates, right? It's funny how that works, and it remembers. Now, you mentor, obviously, during your coaching, and you do something lovely for young women. You mentor them on your own time. Tell me what that is like. What field do you get from the ladies, from the girls, the young people starting out? The young people.
It's young people. Well, because they're in their 20s. You laugh, but I know. So it's really, it's really inspiring and amazing to talk to these young girls and see what goes on in their head these days. A lot of them really don't know what they want to do for a career. They're very confused. Many right now have moved back home, and they don't like that. I mean, can you imagine being 25, 26, 27, and you have to move back home with your mom and dad, and you don't see your friends, you don't go out. It's been very, very tough on them. So I think me working with some of these young women right now has been a blessing. Not saying that COVID was a good thing, but just me coming in at this time worked out really well for them. And we get to plan on what they want to do when COVID's over. And we got them through COVID because they're really stressed out and planning on the future and making goals. And it's, to hear young people talk about what they want to achieve is pretty amazing,
Mm.
because
And
they're so open and energetic and they just want to do everything. And it rubs off on you a little bit, I think.
right. And now you also volunteer with animals, which I know is your real passion and your real love. Max
Hmm.
is your real love. And I, as I was saying to you before we got on, we just got a dog, and I get it now. I
Right,
I am I am now that person,
right.
and I see it and I feel it, and so I appreciate it more now. And I imagine if I started volunteering, I would probably be at all the zoos now too. So tell me about the primate sanctuary that you help out at.
Right. Okay. So first, Max is my dog. He thinks he's my boyfriend. And I'm quite happy with that. He does not like men around me. He
No,
sits in the passenger side of my car. He is like my little man, right?
handsome
It's the
man, yeah.
cutest little thing. It's the cutest little thing. And I love it. And I'm glad you now understand, because I think that people used to think I was a little cuckoo when I would talk about my dogs all the time. But until you
Right,
love a dog and receive a love from a dog back, you
right.
you don't understand. So I'm glad you understand that I'm not a crazy
No,
person.
and I'm posting
Okay.
all the pictures now. The kids are almost like secondary. Come
Okay.
on, get out of the way, get out of the way.
He's, yeah, I know, it's so great. So animals. I've been involved with animals for a long time. When I was before I left Toronto, I was volunteering for a dog rescue, and I was taking in foster Malteses that were abused and were older, and I would take care of them before they were adopted out. Broke my heart because I adopted one, but I wanted to adopt them all. So that was really hard. Did the same thing when I was in Calgary. And then I went to Bali, and I went to this monkey park, I guess. And I
Okay.
thought, oh my God, I've always been in love with polar bears, elephants, and monkeys. For some reason, those three are what I'm gravitated towards. Came back from Bali, and in my head, I thought, I got to work with monkeys somehow. I swear to God, this is like the law of attraction. So I'm sitting at the salon getting my hair done. I'm talking to Prima, and
Yeah.
then the lady next to me says something about a primate sanctuary. So I turned to her and I said, did you just say a primate sanctuary? And she said, yeah, I volunteer there, and I've been there for 20 years. I'm the caregiver for Pockets Warhol, which is a very famous monkey. He paints, and a lot of artists have used his paintings for their album covers.
Wow.
The singer from Depeche Mode, I think it was Depeche Mode, just got Pockets Warhol to do his album cover. So he's been around, and Ricky Gervais, who's also a huge
Yeah.
animal advocate, works with Pockets Warhol. So she told me all this. I said, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. I just came back from Bali. I want to volunteer. So she set me up with the Storybook Farms Primate Sanctuary. They're in Sunderland, Ontario. With her guidance, I went there, and her referral, I got in. I was able to start volunteering.
Wow.
It's on a farm. They take in basically the majority of the primates there are lab monkeys.
Mm.
So lab monkeys get prodded and tested, makeup, and all
Oh.
kinds of horrific things.
Mhm.
And they live a horrific life for a long time in a caged environment that's very small. And then when they're done with the test, they normally euthanize them, and that's it. Storybook Farms actually started advocating, like, bring us the lab monkeys, let them live the rest of their
Oh.
lives in peace. So they won. They got 3 lab monkeys 3 years ago. That set a precedent in Canada. And those 3 monkeys, yes, they live in cages, but they're very large. They're like a big
Mm.
room. They have toys and trees, and there's lots of volunteers that go in and make them treats and toys and play with them. We've got
Oh.
lemurs there. And what else? There's a lot of different types of monkeys. The other one that's there that's really famous is the IKEA monkey, Darwin. So he is
I
there,
remember him.
and I don't do. I mean, I most of the time, I hate to say it, Annie, but I go in there and I clean out the poop. I clean the cages. That's my job. I'm a poop girl. I go in and clean the cage.
That's okay.
But
That's an important job too.
it is very important to clean the poop cages because these animals are very particular about their cages and they like them clean.
No doubt.
So that's what I do. I love being in there. It just makes me feel like I'm doing something good. And I'm
So,
kind. I'm being kind to animals because animals deserve our kindness. They never did anything wrong.
and don't they always say how someone treats an animal, a dog, a raccoon, a squirrel, is generally, you can get a good sense about their nature.
Absolutely.
So we're going to keep that in mind. We'll do a test.
And it's funny because if you don't think, here's another rule of thumb, if you don't think that anybody's watching you, but there's always somebody that sees, right? How you treat others or animals is a clear indication of who you are as a person, right? You're not just putting on a face and being nice when everybody's watching, but you're actually nice all the time.
And that's who you are, Carla. So Carla, thank you so much for shining a light, using your celebrity and helping these young women, because there's a motto I love: be the person you needed when you were younger. Be the person you needed when you were younger.
Right.
And you are that person, Carla. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
This is for Entertainment and Celebrity Meet.